see if this works. Okay, do we have volume now? Loud and clear. Meanwhile, I'm still vibing. It might be my headphones, so we'll fix it in a little bit. Let's give everybody a few seconds to come in. We're going to give everybody a few seconds to come in, and then we'll see what happens. How's it sound? Much better? Yeah, it might be the cord. If I mess with it, it'll get weird. Or maybe it's this. Sound is bad. It's muffled. Let's see. Make sure we're plugged in all the way. It's been a minute, y'all, since we went live, so of course it's a little bit. Kay says, "Hey Jess, you look so beautiful. I miss you." Okay. Angela says, "I can hear you now, just breaking in and out." Naya says, "It's good." Jasmine says, "It's much better." Okay. Raquel, let me turn the volume down, says, "I'm excited to be a part of the live." Girl, it's been so long. It's been a long time. It's been a minute. Starlight with Candace says, "Girl, I miss this. It's been amazingly long time. Long time." Stephanie Chanel says, "Don't forget to like the video," and she is not lying. Don't forget to like the video. Give this video a thumbs up if you're tuning in. I can't see how many people are participating right now in the chat, but there's about 236 thumbs up, and it's absolutely important that when we go live that you go ahead and hit that thumbs up first and foremost. Hope Ann says, "It's my first time catching you live." Welcome, my love. There was a time, like straight from sources saying that they're saying I used to be here religiously. We used to go live every single Monday for years. It's been here, like a couple years, maybe longer than that. Time flies when you're going live every Monday. So I definitely needed some time to take a break, to pause, to catch up with myself. Big part of it was divinely inspired. I'm so grateful for that break time, for that rest period. But it also feels really amazing to come back, to hang out with you guys once again. I've been feeling like going live for over a year, but I wanted to make sure that the time and the vibe was right. I wanted to make sure that I was 100 before I would come back, because if you know me, I don't half-ass anything, honey. I really, I'm born on the autumn equinox, so the majority of my life so far, I've learned how to balance, trying to find the balance between all or nothing, giving it all, giving absolutely nothing. For me, it's go big, go home. That's always been the energy. So I'm learning how to find that perfect balance, maintaining and straddling that perfect balance line. And it's so interesting because as much as I understand it for others and as much as I can see how to get us there when it comes to other people, when it comes to external, when it comes to internal, I definitely have to take a lot of time to self reflect and to have people around me who I can trust, who speak life into me and know, "Hey, Jess, you're doing too much." So it feels so good to come back. It feels so good to come back. So before we go through with the full breakdown of the week ahead for Astro Chat Live, I am going to link up TikTok. For those of you guys that don't know, or if you are following me on TikTok, I have one at BehatiLife. That's another thing too that I like to have a lot of balance with. I have my own feelings when it comes to where the direction of social media is going these days. I'll save that for another video. But I am on TikTok, so feel free to follow me there. I'm going to go live on that platform when I click over, I'm going to do a countdown. Make sure that you stay on YouTube. YouTube is going to be my main focus. TikTok is just giving an opportunity for others who have similar interests to mosey on over from that platform. Okay. So again, I'm going to go live on TikTok as well. But if you are tuning in on YouTube, make sure that you're staying here because I'm going to be talking directly to you and not those who are streaming in from TikTok. In the meantime, I'm also going to be catching in on some of your comments. Where is it that you guys are tuning in from? Where in the world are we tuning in from? If you're in the United States, I'd love to see your city, your state, where it is that you're coming in. And then for the rest of you guys, I would love to see where you are at in the world, because we always have, we have Scotland in the house. We have Virginia, NYC. V says, I'm crystal clear now. Thank God. Probably has a lot to do with the music. We have Honolulu, Scottsdale, Chicago. We're going live here. Just going to click that button. Austin, Nashville, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, South Bend, Indiana is in the house, Pennsylvania, Alabama, York, Pennsylvania, Denver, Colorado, Arizona, Alaska, Asheville. A lot of comments, you guys. I'm really loving seeing this. Someone C is coming in from Melbourne. Thank you so much. Brittany is tuning in from St. Petersburg, Florida. Welcome, my love. So good to see you. Ohio, Long Island, New York. Portland, Oregon. Wow, you guys. Okay, so, we have Philly in the house. I was waiting to see Philly, and I'm also waiting to see New Orleans, where Candles just commented. She just said that she's from New Orleans. So as long as I got my main points covered, I think we're good. We're in good hands. All right, so I wanted to talk to you guys. What is the breakdown of Astro Chat Live? Exactly what is that you can expect? So like I said in the very beginning of the video, Astro Chat Live is the full astrological breakdown, all of the transits, everything that is that we can expect to see for the week ahead. Now, we haven't gone live for Astro Chat Live in over a year. It's been a minute. So not only is there a lot for us to catch up on, but there has been a huge turn of events, astrologically speaking. If you know, you know, comment it and throw it in the comments. What is it that, what is the main transit that it is that I'm going to be talking about tonight? It's a game changer. It's 100% a game changer. Self-Discovery 33 says, I would never have missed Jess's live. Here I am. Thank you so much for tuning in with me and hanging out. Yes, Poetic Nature 0808 says Pluto in Aquarius. Yep, Ajada Brown says Pluto. Color me bad says Pluto. Yep, Brittany Abbey says Pluto in Aquarius. Absolutely. Sonia says Pluto. Jada Dawn says Pluto in Aquarius. Yep, that's the one. That is, you guys are hitting the nail on the head. Pluto's transit entry into Aquarius is going to be a huge game changer when it comes to energy, when it comes to our intimate lives, when it comes to the things that it is that have been going on in government, politics, business, big business. What is it that we can expect not only for the world, but in our own intimate lives? That's something that we need to fully break down. I wanted to do a video on this, but I felt it would be best if we started off with a live, simply because there's so much information. Now, having said that, I really want to encourage you guys that if you feel called to, if you feel free, you can use some tarot cards, shuffle along with me. I'm going to absolutely have my chart pulled up. You're going to see me looking down at my iPad. I have my iPad here with me. This screen, I'm hoping that the internet that I'm working with today, I hope that it's not too choppy. If it does get choppy, usually you can catch up on the recap and the audio won't be impacted. So feel free, feel free to let me know, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't have too many issues with that. So go ahead and shuffle along with me. However, I will be pulling the charts as well. That's a little bit about me. If you don't know, I love merging astrology with tarot and my intuition. That I always like to give like a well-rounded experience when I'm shuffling the cards, when I'm pulling the charts, making sure that I'm covering all of my bases. Okay. Next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the fact that I really encourage interaction and questions. However, when it comes to personal questions, I am known for my accuracy when it comes to my astrological predictions, and for the sake of talking about very specific energies that are going to be impacting us individually. There's none of us astrologers would really be able to really pinpoint, like I would like to do Virgo over here, getting it really precise, pinpoint it exactly where this transit's going to impact you without pulling your personal chart. We simply do not have enough time for that. Right now, we have about 540 people. Oh, that's the number. Okay. So we have 540 people streaming in live on YouTube and 199 comments. So go ahead, guys, and migrate over to the thumbs up button. Give this video a thumbs up. It's very important that you do that at the very start of this video. Thank you so much. The number just jumped up. It's a little bit more accurate. Okay. So when it comes to personal questions, I will maybe try to answer some as I see them. But for the most part, it's absolutely important that we stay focused. We only have an hour to work with. After that hour, YouTube starts to get a little floppy and wonkadocious. That leads me to my next rule. We drop the F-bomb a lot. YouTube hates when we curse, but I am a full, firm believer in sprinkling the F-bomb and other cuss words all around the chat because it just feels so good. Having said that, if you are 16 or 18 and under, this is probably not the chat for you. This is for adults only. I got to put that disclaimer there because we drop the F-bomb and we talk about adult situations. We talk about adult circumstances, okay? That leads me to the next thing. I have moderators, Tasha and Kayla, who are the besties here. They make sure that any type of comments that YouTube deems are inappropriate, that they get striked and pushed off to the side, aka YouTube gets those comments or TikTok get those comments pushed off to the side. That way we can talk openly and candidly because, again, YouTube has a hard time with open dialogue and adult conversation. Okay. Okay, Meditation Astronaut says, I got my candle, my water, and my tarot shuffling. Let's get it. Yup. Valerie says, a little F-bomb, sprinkle. Exactly. Raquel says, shuffling with you. Now, at any point, if you feel like sharing your tarot cards, sharing the cards that you pulled, I would love to see this specifically on the YouTube channel platform. If you guys are streaming in from TikTok, hi, welcome. So nice to see a different audience and coming in from different places. I'm Jess from BehatiLife. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning in. I think that's all of the rules that it is that I have today. We can pretty much go ahead and dive right in. Oh, always be respectful. I think that's pretty much it. There's normally some other stuff that I like to go into, but it is what it is. Okay, Lashana says, I'm using 1080p and it's glitchy still. Yeah, I do think that I live in Florida right now. And, well, I don't know why I said right now. I live in Florida, period, honey. She is settling roots down here in Florida. And the Wi-Fi connection is oftentimes very weird, wonky, depending on whichever way the wind is blowing. So hopefully we won't have too many issues, but sometimes it gets really sometimes the connection gets a little wobbly, and my boyfriend is in the room over, probably streaming, so from his computer. So hopefully it won't impact us too much on this end. Okay. All right. So first things first, how are we feeling? How is the volume? Am I screaming? Is the connection good? Yeah, Brittany Abby says, you don't have Spectrum, do you? They stink out here. That's exactly who I have, Spectrum. So we're looking into that too. It's funny that you say that. That right there is a sign. Okay. Deepak says, good to see you, girlfriend. She said, volume is good. Wonderful. Okay. Straight from Source says, it sounds perfect. Wonderful. Okay. Caitlin says, everything is great. Great. Awesome. Okay. Meditating Astronaut says, connection is golden. Perfect. That sounds good. Annie says, volume and connection is good. Wonderful. So I just want to take a moment real quick and shuffle the cards just real quick, just to get a little energy feel. That's just me really feeling that influence right now. Wow. Funny. First few cards to jump out, and we will not force the message right now. We're going to catch up with this message later while we look into the charts. But, oh, there's another one here too that I didn't see. We have the Queen of Swords, the Jack of Swords. So I'm using a regular card deck today, not my regular tarot or a tarot deck. Isn't it called the Jack? It's called the I can't even remember. 7 of Cups or 7 of Hearts, and the 9 of Cups is here. So interesting that the card of discernment is coming up. Discernment, information, cloudiness, fogginess, and wishes. So we're going to tap into that. But yeah. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive in. Now, if you know me and if you know how I roll, I am really big on making sure that we don't just dive in head first without taking a few steps back. This is why, the reason why is because there are some major transits that have been happening that have been impacting us all. And it's very important for me to take a few steps back to look to see where it is that we are at now currently, but also not that energy is going to repeat. But for the sake of those of you guys that have anxiety, when we talk about planetary changes, when we talk about things that we can't control when it comes to the future, this is your trigger alert that we are going to be talking about what we can expect in the future. And those things, everyone is different. It can set you off and make you anxious. Me personally, I will say that I actually stem from anxiety, and astrology has always been the tool that has allowed me to have peace, additional peace as things are unfolding, because I started seeing it already a year in advance coming down the pipeline. So my intention to start is to not trigger anybody and trigger anxiety. You know yourself better than anybody. Follow your intuition, follow your energy. Does your energy start feeling shaky, wobbly? Try not to get angry. I know that is a sign too when people are anxious. Anxiety and irritability is right behind that. So if you find yourself being anxious during this conversation, no harm, no bad feelings here, I promise. Go ahead and see yourself out, and get cozy, do what you got to do in order to reassess. Okay. Having said that, the things that we're going to talk about always are going to be honest. For me, honesty doesn't mean that I'm talking about all the bad or all the difficult. It means that I'm talking about everything in a way that's upfront and as clear as possible. That's what you can always, always, always expect from me. Now, looking back, when Pluto was transiting through the sign of Capricorn, that is no longer, but going back when Pluto was transiting through the sign of Capricorn, we all knew, astrologers, myself, that there was going to be major changes, major meltdowns when it comes to government, business, politics, big organizations that represents hospitals, institutions, banking institutions, politics, of course. What am I missing? Oh, the food industry, those major established businesses, people in positions of power, those energies started to go more aggressively under attack. Now, what broke my heart is coming on to YouTube when all of this is happening and feeling almost like a broken record when people are saying, Jess, why is it taking me so long to go through these transits? I feel like I'm caught in this web, in this cord, in these things that are connecting me and pulling me. And I try to make steps forward. I try to progress. I try to do better. And oftentimes it feels like something is pulling me back, or I can't quite cut that tie, that there's a connection there that I can't really separate myself from, or I'm watching the world and politics all over the world crashing, burning. And we saw that the longer the transit and the longer Pluto, or the closer Pluto gets to the very end of the transit, the more those energies tend to start to ramp up and try to clean themselves up. Why? Because Pluto is the planet that rules death, regeneration, rebirth, cleansing, and it'll also always highlight secrets, especially when it comes to areas that control, that have power, that can manipulate and can influence the masses. In this case, when it comes to where that energy unfolds in our bigger business, in our government. Now, The other thing that kind of broke my heart talking about this transit again and again and again is the assumption that as I'm and showing you and telling people why this energy is popping off, why we're seeing like corruption and politics, things that we have accepted for generations, things that we have just come to terms with and we just don't talk about it. We're seeing the root getting pulled up. Why? Because Pluto is in the thick of it. There's no politics. There's no politics. There's no opinions. There's no personal reflections that you would ever see from me, especially not on BehatiLife. Astrology is so amazing because it covers not only the spiritual aspects of our lives, our relationships, our intimate lives, but it covers the world that we live in too. These are things that we can watch unfolding. So as I'm talking about these transits, it's really easy for us to, from our own individual houses, from our own windows, kind of peering out and saying, oh, I'm a this, I rule with this party, or I believe in this, or I'm petitioning, or what is it called, revolting against this, or I'm speaking up against this, or I'm boycotting this. It's very easy, but also keep in mind that it's not just you in this world. Those are your opinions, those are your perspectives, those are things that are being pulled up from you. But astrology is not partial to any one party. Astrology is revealing energies that we are watching unfolding. So as we're talking about this, please keep in mind that it can be triggering in that as well, but also no personal opinions should be expressed in a way that would be offensive to others. And I got to tell you, now that Pluto is transiting through the sign of Aquarius, that energy of offense and people getting on edge, on up in arms about certain things and the differences that we see within each other, and how that makes us feel, and how we feel like we have to advocate and fight and force our will, our wishes. Those are energies right away that is already going to start washing away. Now, looking back in the transit of Pluto through Capricorn, this takedown of power, not just in presidencies or anything, but this highlight of people in positions of power in government, monarchies, businesses, etc., big business, big business. The way that generationally we just kind of accepted it as rules and rights and rituals. It's just the way that it is. Looking back through Pluto's transit through Capricorn, we really started to see the breakdown of those larger established rules, rituals, rights, things that we just accept for, I don't say humanity, but for society. Those energies really started to come crashing down. Now, it opened up a lot of really uncomfortable conversations. It opened up the door for us to begin to uproot the soil of major trees. If you think about Capricorn energy, it is a big oak tree whose roots have been intertwined and interwoven and have been sitting and growing for generations. We don't ever think about anything other than that's just the way that it is. You make a right at that tree, you make a left at that tree. You never think about life without that tree. When Pluto was moving through the energy of Capricorn, and definitely in the thick of the energy when it was in the sign of Capricorn, that's when we started realizing, you know what, this tree is big, but and thankfully for what it gave to us, but are the roots sick? Are there parts of this tree, are there parts of this life that we don't need to necessarily accept? It's time to kind of pull them up. Not only, if you think about bringing England into the mix for a second, right? We had the monarchy with the queens and the kings and how they rule and just being in a position of power. It wasn't until the very end of that transit, when Pluto was transiting through the sign of Capricorn, when something rebellious, different, started to pull up into power, leaving all of our opinions out of this. It was the rebel. It was what was different. That's what started questioning the roots of that monarchy. Now, granted, this was a conversation. This was a dialogue. This was something that was set into place since the beginning of forever, but we just didn't talk about it as a society. We didn't talk about it as a whole in the world until there was something that started pulling it up and saying, is there something dysfunctional here? Is there something that we can address? Yes, this is the way that we've done things thus far, but is there something here that we can ask and call, call into question. And it's always something that is different. It's always the rebel. It's always something that strikes different, that really starts to uproot and pull up, so that the system itself, not that it needs to be changed or replaced, but there's an assessment. Pluto is the planet of reassessing, reevaluating, and taking away anything that is rotted, even or corroded. And even if it's sitting in a position of power for as long as we know it, there's something here that says, okay, if this is the way that we want to do it, let's go ahead and reassess. Let's go ahead and reevaluate. Let's talk about some of these more difficult conversations, because without talking about it, this same energy will continue to grow and to fester. And when Pluto was transiting through the sign of Capricorn, it said that no one here is immune to being pulled up, uprooted, or any rotted spaces, like a tooth, like a rotten tooth. It needs to be taken care of if there's a cavity. Okay. Caitlin Brown says, everything I had going into 2020 is now gone. The assessment took it all. And that is exactly how Pluto rules. Pluto does not allow anything rotted or that could not stand the test of time. It will not, simply will not. It will clean it out like a power cleanse. Okay. So that was something else that we needed to look into, right? Those are energies that we started to look into. The other thing is, let's go back to COVID times, right? That was that. It's always a random thing. I have my thoughts and my theories on that. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave this out of the chat. From the lens of astrology looking in, but also that's BFF Jess, personal Jess. When I look at things, I'm just like, this is not a conspiracy to me, but we'll save that topic for another conversation. When the virus hit and how that impacted us as a society, it started really highlighting even some of the roots within ourselves. How are we taking care of ourselves? Are we taking care of ourselves at all? Are we robotic? And then that created the shift. How do I balance my work and my life? Now, Capricorn, it's interesting because Capricorn actually rules how we give to others, our work to others, like our reputation, our lasting imprint that it is that we leave for others. This is when people started saying, listen, I have given the generations before, I've given my whole life to this place, only for me to retire now and I'm getting a watch, or I'm given a sandwich platter and it's just like, thank you so much for your service, and then only to be immediately replaced. Now that Pluto has transited, you guys may not be able to see the connection, but it's always a small irritation, something very, very small, something very, very unexpected that starts to reveal to you, why are we doing it this way? This is the way that we've done it generations before and generations prior to that. And now all of a sudden, now that Pluto is now in the sign of Aquarius, it's there. I can't tell you within the last year how many people have started saying, I am not giving myself to this business, this brand, this organization, this company, this corporation. Why? Because my life has value outside of that. And then what ended up happening? People started to individually begin to prioritize their mental health. They began to start looking for purpose. They started opening up their own businesses, their own brands, started pursuing their hobbies. In fact, that same mindset of turning your hobby into a business was also thrown out the window. And now people are saying, listen, I want to do things for the sake of joy, for the sake of pleasure. Why do I want to destroy myself, destroy my mental health, stress myself out, only to find myself rushing into my grave? This is when society started slowing down and started prioritizing mental, emotional, physical, spiritual well-being. Now, in all of this, when COVID started popping off, I started pulling the charts and I said, listen, I see pods, I see breakdowns, I see chaos, I see corruption, and I see us all individually figuring out how to rely on ourselves. Something that seemed so interconnected now seemed like we were. Do you guys remember? I was talking about this when it started getting more serious and everyone is panicking. And I say this for a reason. It's not, Aaron says, I remember you saying that in a live too. Exactly. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of anxiety, not just on the internet, but my friends and my family. One friend in particular was calling me every day, having a panic attack. Just having huge panic attacks. The worst, they're saying everything's going to shut down. I can't deal with this. And I said, enjoy this. Enjoy this moment. This is going to teach you a new way of living. That is an opportunity, but you can't see that if you're getting caught in the news and the excitement and the information sharing. This breakdown is something that is very much needed. It's going to be very much needed. And worst case fears were revealed. Worst case situations at the very start of the panini. I don't think we're allowed to say it. At the very start of the panini, they were saying, this is the worst thing. No, please, no, don't make us no. And you know what ended up happening? We lived through it. Somehow as a society, we have become inspired. We were evolved. We have become better. Now, was there loss? Absolutely. There was absolute loss. There will always be loss whenever there's some type of change. But part of this are things that we can't get back. Part of this is things that we look back and we're grateful for the times that we have. And a lot of it was a part of our own belief systems, a part of our own mindset, a part of things that sometimes have to be forced out of our hands. The same thing is going to happen as Pluto is transiting through the sign of Aquarius. We are going to be talking about some very difficult truths, some very difficult information, things that we're already starting to see, things that freak people out naturally. But when you're in it, you'll be like, half of you guys, I hate to say this, but half of you are already more than numb when it comes to things that you're hearing on the internet. Why? Because you've already gone through it. So many of the predictions that I'm going to share with this Pluto transiting through Aquarius transit, which we are going to be in the thick of it for quite some time, it should not give you anxiety. If anything, it's something to get excited for. And I'm very, very big on, if you know how to work with if you know the energy that you're working with, you can work with these energies and not have them work against you. The thing is, you want to be informed. Okay. Naya says, I feel a tower about to happen within my family. I feel like the second I call it out, everything will fall down, then I will rise. Raquel says, staying to yourself helps you to realize what you need for you and how to move forward. Yes. Naya says, I feel sworn by sharks and pushed down. Yikes. Love Frequency says, excited for growth and progress. There will be a lot of growth and a lot of progress. It will be fast. So now it's time for us to talk about all of that to say, it's time for us to talk about Pluto's transit through the sign of Aquarius. And if you are impatient, I understand. Me too. I feel you. I am easily one of the most impatient and patient persons, depending on the situation. We will talk about the transits of this week, because this week will feel a little emotional for some. Let me know how you guys are feeling so far. How are you feeling at the start of this week? It is Monday now. I can't believe we're live. Like, it's been forever. I cannot believe that we're live right now. Please give this video a thumbs up. Or, you know what? Do me one even better. Go ahead and share this video with your community, with your friends, with your family on social media. I've really been sleeping on social media lately just because, girl, I've been relaxed. I've been slowing down. I've been inspired. I've been connecting with the divine. This is the first time, and I promise you, we'll talk about Pluto's transit through Aquarius. I promise you. This is the first time in my life, I think, where I actively slow down. If you guys have been with me since the jump, you know that I move a lot. Some of you guys have seen it, like where I'm picking up, putting down, picking up, putting down, picking up, putting down. That is not even just when I was my, time online. That has been the majority of my life. Now that I've been in my house, since I bought my house, manifested my house, purchased my house, doing what it is that I love, it was as soon as I started feeling the energy of slowing down and the fact that I wasn't leaving from this place, my system, my biological system really started to shift, settle, calm down.
And I never realized how much I was operating from the space of go, 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 go. Always connected with the divine, always, that was always my anchor, but very much in a position of movement. So that was one of the things that was really calling me to slow down, as well as some major changes going on in my personal life, but beautiful changes that were going on in my personal life and still happening in my personal life. It's been beautiful. It's been a blessing, but still, nonetheless, I've been slowing down. And now that Pluto is transiting the sign of Aquarius, I actually feel the energy to rev up, which is interesting because one of the major things that we're going to see with Pluto transiting through Aquarius is the fact that social media as a whole is going to change very, very dramatically. And as much as I love to be precise, as much as I love to be a perfectionist and narrow it in, I got to tell you that Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. If you know, you know. Uranus energy is so unpredictable. It is so light years ahead of the rest of us. It doesn't even like dwell or exist in the realms of the now. It's already in the future. It's very much idea and idealistic and concepts driven. So there's nothing any one of us, unless you have an invention, unless you have a brilliant idea that you're working towards, that even maybe not has conceptualized itself now and is bones. Like I'm earth energy through and through. So it's hard for even for any of us, but it's crazy for me to talk about concepts of the future, and that's what's to expect when it comes to all the things with Pluto transiting through the sign of Aquarius, because we're talking about ideas that haven't even come to fruition, and that is our new reality. That blows my fucking mind. That blows my mind. So basically, now that Pluto's transiting through the sign of Aquarius, those same systems are going to start revving up. And I don't know if you guys heard this in the very start of our live, that these transits, they take years, generations. They take generations. I'm going to be 99 years old, I'm sure. 99 or 97. I'm 36 now. So this transit is not going to be completed until the year 2043. So this is going to be the rest of my lifetime, the rest of a lot of our lifetimes. There's going to be a huge advancement when it comes to technology, information sharing. Social media as we know it is radically changing. And it will be, I'm not really one to talk about things as good or bad. It just is what it is. It's going to be interesting to see how we are going to innovate and how technology is going to take us. I see my predictions. I see huge leaps when it comes to technology, when it comes to transportation. I think even the concept of like flying cars or information sharing, which is so fast as it is, it's going to take a huge leap to the point where I don't think that communication is going to be limited to just here on Earth. I highly believe that in the years to come, there's going to be leaps in advance in technology when it comes to communication with other lives or something involving like the planets or travel with the planets. I also think crazy prediction saying this now, but when things start speeding up, I also feel by the end of 2043, I believe that there will be people who will be living in space. And that is not, I am the most grounded, practical, I'll believe it when I see it type of person. If it wasn't for astrology, I would literally be laughing at myself right now and say, there's no way this girl is a conspiracy theorist. I am the most skeptical mother out there. And I'm telling you, looking at this, if I had to not even grasp for straws, but make a guess, there's going to be huge advancement when it comes to technology and space travel and where we live, and not so much communication here with ourselves here on Earth, but other beings. How are you guys feeling about, yeah, Megan Ferry says the Jetsons. Yeah. Rebecca says, I think people will be living on Mars soon. I really feel like there's going to be a discovery. I think there's going to be huge discovery, not just in the planets that we know. I know that sounds crazy because how could we how could we not have found? I would not be surprised if we discovered another planet. I know that sounds wild, right? Like, wouldn't we have found it by now? Another thing that I'm seeing is technology. Um, when it comes to technology, I believe there's going to be huge advancements. Why? Let me just tell you this to start. Pluto represents rebirth, regeneration, power, control, manipulation, secrets. Hold on, sorry. Wow. So my boyfriend, side note, not sponsored, he went to Trader Joe's and he picked up tea, which I was a little nervous about. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little nervous about that because I'm Virgo and I'm very particular about not just some things, but like everything. It's annoying. Like I annoy myself. So I was a little hesitant when he came back with the blood orange tea from Trader Joe's. It ended up being pretty good, and it's interesting the choice too because it's really connecting me to sacral chakra energy and the fact that it is that here I am sharing with you guys. If anything, I feel like he intuitively picked the right tea for the situation. So that's what I'm sipping on right now. Blood orange rubios herbal tea blend. You can get it at your local Trader Joe's, I'm sure. Okay, going back into this though, yeah, I believe that there's going to be huge leaps when it comes to technology. I don't want to say if this is going to be for good or for bad. I will say that from where I'm looking at now, I think the best part of this technology will be communication with other lives. I think the worst part of this communication is there seems to be a huge detachment from an astrological lens. There seems to be a huge detachment in the pursuit, interestingly enough, of communication and when we're talking about humanity. And that blows my mind because how can you improve communication, improve information sharing, make advancements for the betterment of humanity while also somehow losing a sense of humanness? That's what's really fucking me up with Pluto and Aquarius. That's the one thing that I do not vibe with, but we all have free will. Pardon my French. I believe that there's going to be, again, huge leaps when it comes to communication, but for this, in all of this, there's a lack of humanness. And it's funny because Aquarius actually rules the humanitarian, like doing things for the sake of humanity, like making sure that we all feel connected, making sure that we're all aligned. But there is a major separation when it comes to our emotions, when it comes to connection, almost to the point where it's almost borderlining. And I feel like this is a gift, but it's giving something very similar to something connected almost to like autism. And I hope you guys understand me when I say this. It's almost like our society becomes very brilliant with information, with processing, with data, but there seems to be a disconnect when it comes to emotionally being able to connect with another human being outside of intellectual understanding. And that worries me for the whole of society. I think that those who actually are on the realms of all like they say it as a disability, but I see it as an advantage, right? I see this as a brilliant mind. Those people seem to, this is going to be your season, right? And for you, it's not just going to be a season, it's going to be a life. You are going to be, I don't want to say exalted, but next to that. And that's just me speaking in the realms of astrology. It's something very similar to being exalted, as you should be. I feel that that's the way that if we were a healthy society looking back, if I could do things different, every single person, I believe in totally different types of intelligences. Those types of intelligences would have been applied, and those those people would have been treasured more than they have already. Now, when it comes to the society as a whole, if you are not someone who is wired for hyper intelligence or hyper awareness, what does that leave for you other than some type of emotional detachment? If it's not this generation, it's the generations to come. And I don't know if it has something to do with technology, with them being on their phones, with them being on iPads or whatever new advances are coming through. If there's, to me, it's almost wiring little humans into something very similar to robotic, into information sharing, into information overload, that they can't even, it's almost like there's a separation between what makes them human, what our soul is. It's giving something similar to like cloning, like a copy repeat, kind of getting everything in the same way, kind of repeating the same type of, and trying to even everybody out on the same things. And it's, to me, I see the positive in the fact that it's kind of negating differences, I guess, and making it easier for us to come together and work together as a team. That's the other thing too. I don't believe that this is going to be one society, one world against the other world, against this, not world, but one country against this country against this country. There's going to be a connection of all of us here together, but like-minded. That is a huge jump, because right now, looking on the news, we're talking about something similar to war and fighting for the sake of humanitarianism. Like, am I saying that correctly? For the basic human rights. So I believe that this is because of the buildup and the purging, because Pluto will push up like a pimple, these long lasting, lingering beliefs and conflicts that have been a part of the collective for so long that you don't even think about it any other way. So I believe that there will be some things shooting up, some conflict that will be shooting up from that place. Yeah. I also feel that there's going to be a huge shift. Pluto transiting through Aquarius. Oh, wow. So interesting. Ashley Palmer says the medical military industrial complex won't last. It's funny that you're saying that, because I'm actually seeing human beings being replaced by like technology, like robots, drones, bots, things like that. I mean, we're already seeing that already, but things that we thought are untouchable, for example, like the nursing industry, that is the first thing that stands out to me looking at these charts. The reason why is because I'm looking at Uranus transiting through Taurus, Pluto in the sign of transiting through the sign of Pisces. I'm sorry, did I say Pluto? Saturn transiting through the sign of Pisces. Pluto now transiting through the sign of Aquarius. I really get a strong sense of those labors or those job industries that should be more like human, one-on-one, soft touch care, tending to, being replaced by something similar to robotic or technology. I'm also seeing food. This one fucks me up. Sorry. This one I don't like. This is actually one of the reasons why I bought my house before the housing market, before when Uranus was transiting through Taurus, because I was like, yo, fuck around and find out. That's the one thing I was not going to do, was wait. I wanted to save up, buy my house, buy land. I saw Uranus and Taurus. I said, we're going to go up, we're going to go down, we're going to go up, we're going to go down. The roots, the foundation of everything felt like it was going to come crashing down. And I knew that I wanted to set intention, that I wanted to have my house. I wanted to grow my own my food as much as possible, or started becoming more self-sustaining. We're going to see that a lot more in as a whole. This is not something to get afraid of. It's something to be inspired by. And I even want to like shamelessly self-plug myself a little bit on Instagram. And I will be creating a TikTok, Jessica X Alexandria, of how to grow your own food, how to harvest your own food. So definitely put a pin in that. Side note, I was even living in Philly and I was growing lettuce outside of my window on the fire stoop. I even had compost, a little compost mason jar. It makes a difference. You can do it. I promise you. So I really want to start teaching people because at Virgo, man, and I'm entering into the next chapter and season of my life too. Astrology and my spiritual practice is something that is for me. It's always sustained me. But there's that other side of me, the earth, the grounded side that has always been a gardener and always focusing on that. Anyway, I'm concerned going back into astrology, being totally transparent with you. I'm concerned with the quality of food, if there will be that. It almost seems like not just with Pluto transiting through Aquarius, but also Uranus transiting through Taurus, Jupiter transiting through Taurus, there's a lack of food, like food shortage, but then this like ample abundance of food coming from these artificial ways. A huge, I cannot stress this enough, a huge lack in nutrients and minerals in the new food that's coming down the pipeline. We as human beings, and I feel like YouTube is already going to give me a hard time with this, but we as human beings, we cannot not have nutrients. We cannot not have minerals. We have to have that to live. You could be eating what you think is healthy, fresh food, vegetables, lettuces, berries, but if it's missing minerals, if it's missing nutrients, but it's a fucking berry, pardon my French, and YouTube is going to get mad at me for saying this, but I'm just being so transparent. This is one of the reasons why I had to take a break from going live, because everyone thinks that this is conspiracy. This is literally where we're going. If you're eating these foods thinking that you're eating healthy, that you're taking care of your body, and it's lacking the basic nutrients because the earth, the ground, the dirt is missing those nutrients, we have a bigger problem. Even though the food is there, it's missing what makes us healthy. So even if you think that you're doing right, why aren't we talking about that more? Now that Pluto is transiting through the sign of Aquarius, these are times where we're going to start looking, or what's going to end up fucking happening, because sometimes it's not what they say, it's what they don't say. Sometimes it's not the fact that they're calling out the problem. They start immediately trying to introduce a solution. If you read between the lines, you'll start to see, well, why are we now saying like, oh yeah, we're infusing nutrients into berries, into this? Why? This isn't something that I don't think I've seen this on the news. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably, I don't know, but that is a big concern, is soil. The quality of the soil, the quality of the dirt is not not at all what it should be. You can have dirt and try to grow seeds in that dirt and it will not be able to take. And that's a huge issue. Why? Because the earth herself, her nutrients, her minerals have been depleted. So watch in the near future how they're going to start introducing new variants of vegetables, fruits, produce, okay? And saying like, oh, we're putting nutrients back into this, we're replacing it back in, we're adding it into it. You didn't, if you grew it right, if you gave it the time, you wouldn't have to do all that, because nature provides. Nature provides everything that we would need. We would be nutriently sufficient. On the flip side, I'm going to go ahead and talk about aging. I love this transit. This is Pluto's transit through Aquarius. Uranus's transit through Taurus is also going to help with this a lot. There's going to be a lot of advancements when it comes to age and making us take steps to living longer, to living like how we prolong our life. I don't know what that's going to look like. I am antiquated in my thought of the blessing of what it is to grow old, but I'm also the generation that hasn't fully lived all the way through Pluto and Aquarius, so I can't relate to that concept and that thinking yet. Maybe when we're in it, maybe I'll be a little bit more open to it. Maybe you guys are excited about that. I have my hesitations. I also think by the time that this technology would actually have leaped to the point where I would be able to use it or benefit from it, at that point, I'll probably already be in my 70s and my 80s and have my whole garden anyway. So I just probably would have dedicated my life to that and astrology. I feel like that's going to be my legacy here on Earth, but to each their own. The younger generation, if you guys are tuning in, which I'm sure some of you guys, it's past your bedtime, will actually be able to apply this. Text me. Text me and let me know how it goes, girl, because I'll be listening. I do love a little age, a little anti-aging. Okay, wait. What V says, Yeah, Christine says scary about nutrition. It isn't, because if you can get compost, is the internet being weird now? Is it being glitchy? Of course, yeah. If you, it's not scary, because if you know this, you can start preparing for this now. You could easily, when you have a banana, when you have tea, when you have scraps from the kitchen, if you get, even if you started with a mason jar, and again, I want to tell you guys all of this, but my YouTube channel is more, and TikTok and my social media is more for talking about astrology and spirituality, manifestation, setting intention. You guys know that part. I think I'm going to start converting Jessica X Alexandria into food and nourishment. I've already been doing it. I've just been posting mostly in my stories, but you guys could start today. You could literally start today. All you need is tea bags. Break the string down, break the paper down, just cut, and then drop this into a mason jar. Put a little bit of shitty dirt in there, okay? Because you could take a big bag of shitty dirt. Crappy dirt, you would know, because it's like powder. It doesn't have anything dense and moist and wonderful. It literally floats. It's weird. Take that, and if you put bananas, if you put berries, if you put clippings in there, put it a lid on that mason jar, sit it in the sun. I know that they say that you can turn it and to keep the air going, but if you're in apartment living, if you're in the city, I'm telling you right now, you can't do that. So put it in the sun, put it behind a book, let it rot. It'll break down into soil, the best soil that is that you'll be so proud of that soil. There's some rules that you can follow, and there's some rules that you can break away from. But if you're concerned about nutrients and quality of food, you can start this party going of nutrient dense food. You can start this today, and I highly encourage it. In fact, go on my Amazon storefront. Hold on. Okay. Go on my Amazon storefront, amazon.com/BehatiLife. I don't know. And you'll see I have a bunch of seed packets. I think some of them are actually on sale for like $14. There's a blend for lettuces. There's a bunch of packets for herbal, like herbs that you can use for medicine, for your body, for health. There's some for flowers, and they're all packaged up for you. It's brilliant. It's $14.99 for about 70 different variants of seeds, and you can get this today. It'll be at your doorstep tomorrow. I believe I have it linked in Amazon. If not, in my Amazon storefront. If not, I'll link it tonight. I promise. We didn't even go through the second page. What the fuck? I swear, I just be talking. Yes. Thank you so much. Dapika got it. Thank you, girl. Pin. Okay. Janisa says, Jess, you absolutely come out with more videos about homesteading. Oh, you should actually. Okay. Thank you. I know you have a blog though, but sometimes I feel seeing what you're talking about. I know. If anything, it's better for me to sit down and take pictures and write. Gardening, homesteading, that's the thing too. Like if we want to start this together, we could, because I've got my garden going, but it's not to what it is that I want it to. So technically we would kind of be starting together, and you could easily grow your own lettuce. I really lean into lettuce because greens, collard greens, rich greens, spinach greens, mustard greens, they are so good for your body, and they're very easy for you to take care of in your home, in a little spot in the bathroom. You got this. Just move it into the little patch of light every once in a while. It'll thank you. You can water it. You can keep it going. I know that for a lot of you guys, you might have started with herbs. They always say that herbs are so easy to start with. That is not true. I do not. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Herbs can be very temperamental. You have some herbs that need to be watered all the time, and some that are drought tolerant. They prefer drought circumstances. So it's hard for you to have all those herbs growing. You'll start growing them only to be like, what the fuck? Why did all of my herbs start rotting? And then some of them dried out. Like, the hell's going on? So yeah, I would love to get that started. Yeah. Trisha says, off on a tangent, like always. Yeah. I mean, I'm saving your life right now. So okay. Let me see if there's anything that I really, okay. I think I'm going to have to do a whole blog, not blog, but a whole video on Pluto and Aquarius, or a podcast. I just feel like it's just, I thought that I would be able to get it all in, but apparently not. We're at an hour too. YouTube starts getting extra wonky when we go over. Oh, one personal thing I want to talk to you guys about. If you're in marriages, union, long-term commitments, and Pluto in Capricorn was picking your relationship up, I want to tell you that now that Pluto is entering into the sign of Aquarius, those long-term bonds, commitments, they're not going to feel as restricting and as holding you back in the way that they once have. You're also going to be in a position of empowerment where you can define relationships that work best for you. I want to tell you too that it's not just Pluto and Aquarius that's acting as a blessing right now. It's also the fact that Chiron is and has been transiting. Where am I? Why can't I find Chiron? Okay. It's also the fact that Chiron is and has been transiting through the sign of Aries for the longest. When it was retrograde, it was really jacking you up. You guys might want to check out my videos on that on YouTube for when we talked about that in the past. Tough transits right there. Very, very vulnerable, very, very sticky. It's been all teaching you how to, unfortunately and fortunately, learn how to put yourself first and what that looks like now. It doesn't need to be rude. It doesn't need to be mean. It doesn't need to be like rolling over on your back and exposing your stomach. Like, just kick me while I'm down. It's teaching you how to become empowered, how to speak up for yourself. Because what I've noticed looking at the astrology charts and looking at pulling charts for friends, family, and clients is that sometimes it's not that you are fighting or forcing or pushing. It's just that you're not speaking up at all and you're giving your power over to others. I know that we're living in divine feminine era, and I want to celebrate that, but I also want to call out some of the more, how even that like a good thing can turn into a bad thing when we're not informing it in the right way. And then you start only focusing on that and feminine and falling back, that you end up missing how to balance your divine feminine and your divine masculine energy. With Chiron transiting through the sign of Aries, with the North Node that has been transiting through the sign of Aries, you were needing to learn how to speak up more for yourself, for especially when it comes to relationships. Also, for those of you guys that have been working on generational karma, generational curses, generational baggage, kudos to you, honey. That right there. Let's just stop right there. Go ahead. End the chat. Nice. Good night. See ya. Kudos to you. It is not just this generation that has felt the effort that you have put in to break generational curses, to cut yourself free from the loops of things that were repeating. It will be the generations that have come before you that do feel it. And I did not understand that until I saw it in my own life. I'm so grateful for the amount of effort and work that I put in to bettering myself as a human being and to breaking some really tough patterns. I want to give you a big pat on the back. You did it. 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 Pluto in Aquarius is going to be a huge breakthrough, huge energy shift for those of you guys that have been laboring through separating yourself, cutting ties. You will begin to see, if you haven't already, tremendous relief and even hope illuminating for you in the future when it comes to, wow, I did this. I broke that cycle. It absolutely ends with me. And with this, I want to tell you guys that this is another opportunity, another time for you to separate yourself from those energies that are still lingering within that. Unapologetically continue to pour into yourself, nourish yourself, support yourself like you already have. We are also in Aquarius season right now. And with this, it's about detachment. It's about sometimes doing what others don't want you to do because you have to do that for you. Aquarius doesn't give a fuck. Okay? Aquarius doesn't give a fuck about the opinions of others. It will do things for the betterment of everyone because that's Aquarius's vibe. But it will not just tolerate and go with the flow of things because that's what we all decided as a group, as a collective. I struggle to understand Aquarius line of thinking, but I'm Virgo and I analyze everything. I have learned to trust Aquarius line of thinking to some extent, while also still maintaining boundaries for me, myself, my own process. So I say this to you guys that there's something to be said about the blessing and the abundance of allowing yourself to detach and kind of go your own way, march to the beat of your own drummer. Sometimes it does feel a little isolating. Sometimes friendships, connections, communities, those types of things suffer. You may feel alone. That is an Aquarius trait. They can be friends with everyone. Everyone knows them. They know their name, but at the end of the day, they're alone. They feel isolated. They feel separated. They feel detached. They feel like the black sheep. They feel like no one understands them. And yet they have this big smile on their face and all these people around them. So just know that you're not alone in that. That's just energy. If anything, let it fuel you to go find your tribe, to go find your people. Okay. Last thing I want to say, and it slipped my mind. I don't want to forget this, and I've already forgotten it, but I'm going to hold on because it will come back. Oh, secret societies. I cannot wait. This is one thing I just have to say before I say goodbye to you guys. Secret societies is starting in 2024, now moving forward to the future. They are about to be exposed. Communities, secret societies, conspiracies, all those things. They're going to be like literally rooted like weeds. Not to say that there was a weed to begin with, but all those secret societies, all those secret establishment things going underneath the surface, they're not about to be things that were like rumors about, things that were just like, oh, I heard about this, but no, they're going to get called out. Facts, photos, newsflash, information, boom. It's not going to be a secret anymore. Those organizations, those quiet things, I don't know why I'm feeling a throwback to New Orleans. Specifically, New Orleans, living there, I wasn't even there long enough, but I was there long enough to know. I just think about, how do I want to say this? Because I just get I got like butterflies even thinking about it. Just eyes on the map for on New Orleans, and how much I always just never want to talk about it. How much goes on, like beyond what we would ever. New Orleans is such a hot spot for it. It's like, I feel like there's ports in the United States. There's ports all over the world. I feel like New Orleans is a huge spot for that. Just information, secret societies, just random things under, not just people who don't fit in with society, but people in major positions of power. People like judges. You want to talk about presidents, but beyond that, alongside of that, all around, all that energy. And I'm going to leave it at that. That's my major, and not just, it makes me sad saying it too. I don't know why I feel so sad, but not just in those realms, but how they connect to the rest of the world. I love New Orleans. New Orleans will always have a really strong place within my heart, and on like a scar. Is anybody here in New Orleans right now? Can anybody vouch for what it is I'm saying? Not just me just saying this. Can anybody in New Orleans vouch for what it is I'm saying? Or if you've lived in New Orleans or live around it near. V says yes. Jennifer says yep. Angel says born and raised Nuala. Rebecca says so much exposure and rebellion. Raised on stories of corruption. Yep. Can you guys vouch for what it is I'm saying? Have you heard? Yep. Yeah. Not just Makeup Loca says Makeup Loca says New Orleans is a very strong portal. It goes deeper than, it's not even like just taking the spirituality out of it. Yeah. Yeah, Stephanie says, I wish I knew I'm about to go down the Google rabbit hole. It's not on Google. You won't find it on Google. It's not on Google. It's not on Google, girl. You can't. You're not going to be able to find it on Google. Makeup Loca says, born and lived there a little bit. Yeah. It's very, yeah. New Orleans is beautiful, but it's very, there's so much corruption and cover-ups but it's not just New Orleans. It's like, it branches out, it bleeds out into all over the world. Like, it's like a portal. Think about, not to go, this is going to get me in trouble. I hope not. Think about the slave trade, right? I hate to bring it there, but this is a perfect example. Think about the slave trade. Like, even from England, that the monarchy, like that government is, I don't want to say that, like the United Kingdom was a huge resource for slave trade, for slave labor, and would truck huge and pump it into the Caribbean islands. New Orleans was the entry point for all of that to show up on the shore and then branch it out all over the United States. That same energy is today on many different fronts. And New Orleans is a beautiful city for so many different reasons, but it is the center of things that are corrupt all over the United States. But it's not because of New Orleans. It's because there are things set in place structurally that have not changed and are still fostered and grown, and has nothing to do with spirituality. I know that when we think about New Orleans, we think about spirituality and hoodoo and voodoo and history, as we should, but there's things that just go deeper than that. And I will leave it at that. And you will not find it on Google. You will not. Bye, TikTok. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I don't know how to end this right now, but feel free to follow me on Instagram. Yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you in my next one. Bye. Saying bye to TikTok. Anyways, guys, I gotta roll. Yeah, Lucid Dreamer says, not this as ending, just as I join. Yeah, Lacey says it's tied into the politics. Big time. Not just in the politics of the United States, but all over the world. It's so fucking crazy. That's what makes me want to go and like fight for New Orleans too, because it's such a strong place in my heart. And I'm like, when things start getting pulled up and the corruption starts getting exposed more and more and more with Pluto and Aquarius, it's just naturally, inevitably going to happen. It makes me want to go down there on the freaking front lines and fight for what New Orleans deserves, which is like a cleanliness, like a cleansing. I will be there for that. I will be there for that. I will be a major contributor to the cleansing of New Orleans, who she deserves this over anything, and anywhere, in my opinion, right now. There's a lot of things going on in the world. New Orleans has my heart. So I just really stick with that. But I wish for a cleansing for New Orleans. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you, YouTube, for not kicking me off. I'm so surprised that we were able to last this long. I'm so sorry that we couldn't cover all of our bases. We will probably, absolutely, most definitely, because this feels so good, go live next Monday. Monday is, let me pull up my calendar. Before you guys click out, I have some announcements too. The Sacred Circle Tarot School is open. The Apothecary will open, but quiet. It'll be a quiet launch for those who are my BehatiLifers. If you know, you know. You have already bought from BehatiLife. You have gone through the ups and the downs with me when it comes to shipping things out and the time that it takes. You guys, I don't even need to be like a broken record, but the Apothecary will be reopening, but they will hear about it first. If you're signed up for the newsletter, this helps so that my BehatiLifers get full access to shop with the candles. The oils work with me one-on-one. If you booked a reading, I'm going through those readings one step at a time. But yeah, after that, I will make a more larger announcement on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. And I will shut the Apothecary down immediately once it sells out. Because like I said, you guys, I am not stressing myself out. No, ma'am. I am not compromising. And in the past, I used to keep the numbers open and the doors open, and I would fulfill those orders and do all of the customs. And it was wonderful. It was great. But I'm older. She's older. She's wiser. She's lived. She learned. Her priorities have shifted. She's under the same umbrella of energies as you, girl. So I have learned I don't need to be doing everything all the time. So thank God. But if I were you, I would mark my calendar for February 5th. That is our next Astro Chat Live. I believe that we are going to go live next Monday. I'm so excited, the 5th. So go ahead and mark your calendars for that. Until then, you guys, I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh, wait a minute. The group that has been going around trying to warn everyone and had an interview. Soil, not time. I heard last year. Now off to do more research. Yes, you guys go do your research and go start your compost. And feel free to follow me on Jessica X Alexandria, because I'm going to start talking. I think Queen Bee Homestead is what I have on TikTok. But either way, I'll link them. But we need to start talking about it. Start your soil, start your seeds, and I will teach you guys. I'll make videos if you're interested on my personal. Okay. I love you. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.